Howdy, and welcome to LeeReads, where I talk about the books I've been reading and enjoying lately. Today's video is a modified Exploding TBR. And Exploding to be read is a concept that I first saw on Jessie's channel from The Bookish Mom. And basically, you're giving yourself a loose timeline to read some of the physical books on your shelf. And if you don't read them, then it's time to unhaul them. The books that I'm focusing on for this video are actually books that I bought at the used bookstore somewhat on a whim, and I've had some of them for quite a long time now. It's so easy for me to get distracted by new and shiny books, books from the library, books that I've pre-ordered that come in, that sometimes these books, even though I want to read them, get bumped lower down the priority list. My goal with this is that I'm giving myself 3 months, so through the end of May, to read the books on this list, and if I haven't yet, then I probably never will, and I will take them right on back to the used bookstore where I found them. Some of these are considered classics. Please yell at me to help me read some of these if there's one that you particularly enjoy. First, Dragonriders of Pern. I picked this up when I saw it at the bookstore because I've heard that they're classic. There is a clan of people that are dragon riders, and that's all I really know. So, Volume 1 of the Dragonriders of Pern, Dragonflight. And look at this. Why haven't I read it yet? It's really not that long. Speaking of books that are not that long, I also have Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. All 3 volumes. I don't actually know what they're about. I just know that they are Hugo and Nebula Award winners, and I haven't read them yet. A little dose of science fiction. I have the Young Miles bind-up here from the Vorkosigan saga by Louis McMaster-Bujold. I read Shards of Honor and Barrayar last year or the year before and really enjoyed both and wanted to continue on with the Vorkosigan saga. So I went out and bought this Young Miles trilogy, which is what comes next. I wanted to read them in book chronological order. This bind-up includes The Warrior's Apprentice, The Mountains of Mourning, and The Vor Game. One of those might be a novella rather than a full novel. But yeah, the first few novels with Young Miles, which will then set up and launch the rest of the Vorkosigan saga, because I think it focuses more on Miles for the rest of it. As you can see, I've started it. I just really need to finish it. And another by the same author, The Curse of the Chalian. I've been seeing this pop up in recommendations on our Cozy Fantasy. I had no idea that this would be considered cozy, but every time I see that, it makes me want to go ahead and pick it up a little bit more. It's about a disgraced page who returns to his noble house because he has nowhere else to go and winds up getting drawn into the politics there. I think he has to train one of the daughters of the house. I'm not quite sure. This is definitely higher up on my TBR. It's been sitting on my shelf for a couple of years, and I just need to read it. And then one I picked up on a definite whim, mostly because it was signed, but I've also heard great things. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is the first book of a duology. It's about a man who has been obsessed with the lost city of Weep his entire life. That is a place that most people think doesn't really exist, but he's convinced that it does. And I think somehow he goes to Weep and meets the people there and gets embroiled with whatever they've got going on. That is my grasp of the story, but I just hear that this is heart-wrenching and it can be quite hard in parts, but people really love the writing style. And I've still not read anything by Laini Taylor, so by the end of May, I will at least have tried this, if all goes to plan. And then I have 2 other books. The Bitter Twins, which comes after Ninth Reign. Book 2 of the Winnowing Flame trilogy. I actually bought all 3 books of the trilogy. You can't really find it on shelves in the United States, so I had to order it online from the UK. I really liked the first book, and I intend on finishing the series, so I just kind of need a kick in my pants to go ahead and pick up book 2. If I'm never going to finish it, I don't need to hold on to them. Last, this is actually a book that was gifted to me. My sister really loves Stephen King. I've never read any Stephen King. I've seen some of the movies, but she bought me used the entire Dark Tower series, and so it's been sitting on my shelf, the entire, 12 books from the Dark Tower. Pick up Gunslinger and test it out. because if I don't like the first book and I'm not going to continue the series, I don't need to hold on to them forever. So Gunslinger by Stephen King, first book of the Dark Tower series. I haven't seen this movie. All I know is it has an iconic first line, something about the gunslinger fleeing across the desert. Let's see if I'm right. Oh yeah. The man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed. Again, not very long. That is somewhat of a pile of shame. The books that I picked up sort of on a lark and they've been sitting on my shelf for years. This is my Exploding TBR. If I don't read these by the end of May, then I will take them back to the used bookstore or to the library and let someone else have a chance to read them because I haven't yet. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if I should prioritize any of these on the list. I'm still going to be reading the arcs that I have, new releases I'm excited for, and other books that come across my radar. Not going to be totally focusing on these, but I will be sprinkling these books in throughout the next few months. So tell me which I should start with first. And if there's some that it's like a crime that I were to sell without reading, just let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to support your local library. Thanks.